Hi, and welcome to the Brain Friendly Teaching PD video, where I will be talking about using cognitive science to boost learning and retention in the classroom. My name is Sarah Martin. I am the Student Services TOSA in Palm Springs Unified School District. Let's talk about how this connects to behavior management, since that is usually the focus of my PD videos. Engagement reduces misbehavior. Predictable routines create a psychological sense of safety, and metacognition builds self-regulation. Behavior management is a very important component of our teaching practice. The brain is wired for survival before learning. If students feel unsafe, anxious, or disconnected, learning shuts down. And behavior is communication. It is often a signal that a student's brain is dysregulated. When teachers understand how the brain learns and reacts, they can respond to misbehavior with strategies that regulate, not just punish. Here is a slide of some key brain principles. There's a lot of words on this, so if you want to read the whole thing, go ahead and pause it, but I am going to simplify it on the next slide. The brain principle of safety first is related to our amygdala. If there's danger or a sense of danger, we are not going to learn. Something we can do in our classroom is have routines that foster a sense of safety for our students. Next, emotions drive attention, which means students need to be happy in order to learn. So we can try to entertain them and engage them as much as possible. Next, the prefrontal cortex needs practice. Kids aren't that good at making decisions, and to combat that, we can model our thinking, model our routines and procedures, model everything that we can. Movement and the brain. Kids need to move, so give them breaks and build in activity into your daily schedule. And connection before correction. Kids need relationships, so we need to intentionally build those relationships with them. Some fun facts are the prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed until we are at least 22 years old. It controls impulse, judgment, and impulse control. Is still under construction for our scholars. The amygdala, which helps regulate emotions, is more reactive during childhood than adulthood. The amygdala, an almond-shaped part of the brain's limbic system, is crucial for processing emotions, especially fear, triggering the fight or flight response, and forming emotional memories. It helps us recognize threats, links emotions to memories, and influences behavior, motivation, and social interactions by playing a key role in conditions like anxiety and PTSD. When students misbehave, they are often running an experiment in an attempt to learn. They are incredible little data collectors. When scholars act in a defiant manner, they are determining whether your rules and structure are consistently enforced or not. When we get distracted or react to their behavior in an emotional manner, they find it incredibly interesting. Understanding that a young person's defiance is developmental, not diabolical, helps us to shift the power. Focus on building relationships and sticking to your reinforcement and correction systems. Providing an interesting reaction is the last thing we want to do with our scholars. It's important for us to know that their brains are still learning. So let's talk about behavior through a brain lens. The traditional view is that behavior is the same thing as being defiant or making a choice. The brain-based view is that behavior is a message about regulation, attention, or unmet needs. So ask yourself, what is the brain state behind the behavior when students are misbehaving in your classroom? The survival brain is the fight, flight, or freeze, and those students need safety. The emotional brain is frustration or anxiety, and those students need connection. And the thinking brain is calm and curious and ready to learn. So some practical strategies you can employ in your classroom include regulate before you educate. Use calm tones, deep breathing, and brief pauses before addressing misbehavior. Regulate yourself and your scholars before attempting to teach them any new skills. Teach them emotional literacy. Label feelings, use mood meters or the zones of regulation. Have predictability in your classroom. Post daily schedules, review transitions, and give warnings before changes. This is also known as priming. Offer choice and autonomy. Offer simple choices to engage the prefrontal cortex. High probability requests in your classroom can build momentum. And have reflection routines built into your lesson plans. End of the day with gratitude or goal setting to strengthen neural pathways for self-awareness. The payoff could be improved behavior and learning in your classroom. Students feel safe and seen, which reduces acting out. The classroom becomes more emotionally intelligent. Teachers shift from managing behavior to shaping regulation. And the long-term effects lead to better academic performance, resilience, and relationships with your students and among your students. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about retention. I want you to think of something you learned during a previous PD video. What strategies help you remember? Our students' brains work in much the same way, so we're going to explore how to teach for memory, not just for exposure. Without review, we forget up to 70% of what we learned within 24 hours. Retrieval and spacing really strengthen our memory and help us to retain what we learned. Forgetting is normal, and learning is what happens when we revisit and retrieve information. So next we're going to talk about 4 principles to combat forgetting. The first principle is retrieval practice. Bringing information out of memory strengthens our knowledge of that information. To practice this, you could take 2 minutes to write down everything you remember about photosynthesis. Dragging that information out of your memory will help you to keep the knowledge in the forefront of your mind for a longer period of time. The same principle applies to our scholars. The second principle is spaced repetition, also known as spiral review. Reviewing information over time strengthens neural connections in the brain. So to really implement this strategy in your classroom, you would teach information on the first day, review it on the 3rd day, and then every 7 days after that to keep information fresh in your mind. Other ideas are spiral review Fridays and 3-2-1 quick recalls. You can see a quick table that I put here on the screen for you with a 2-week example of spaced repetition. Principle 3 is the power of feedback. Feedback is information that closes the gap between current and desired performance. Feedback should be timely, specific, and actionable. Praise effort and strategies, not just correctness. So over here we have an example. Don't just say good job. You could say your claim is clear. Next, try adding evidence to back it up. The 4th principle is emotion, motivation, and learning. A quick fact is that the amygdala and hippocampus, which are related to emotion and memory, are directly connected. So the message here is positive emotion and curiosity open the brain to learning. Some tools you can try to use include games, movement, humor, and relationships. I'd really like to challenge you to plan these principles into your lessons. Here is a quick slide that you can use as a resource in your planning. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this PD video. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.